Um, we're all sick of the fat fuck Trump, so let's all make fun of him, because that's an easy thing to do. Um, we are also sick of Donald Trump's fucking ugly ass. Trump totally and completely sick of hearing of his annoying voice, seeing his pathetic image, and watching his latest idiotic, sinister move. And we are sick of his fucking hold on the GOP, his need for attention, and his bullying, bigoted swagger. We're over him, done, and ready to move on. And yet, almost 8 years later, after he descended a golden escalator and issued one of the most babbling, squatting campaign announcements in the history of televised news, he's not fucking done, and he's not going away anytime soon as much as we would like. And no matter how fucking sick we are of him at this point, he's not going away, at least not in the immediate future. Of course he got indicted, and he may get indicted again soon, but that still hasn't shut his fucking ass up, or taken him off of our news feeds. We are stuck watching this ugly fucker, reading his inane social media messages, checking his pathetic polling numbers, and wondering what crazy thing he'll do next, and it makes us fucking sick to our stomach and nauseated. There is one antidote to the depression, anxiety, and frustration that we feel in having to pay attention to this narcissistic prick, anti-democratic loser, and that's comedy, especially satirical comedy. And there is no better way to expose what a total fucking joke Trump is than using jokes itself. And by that, I don't mean he's just an innocuous goofball that we should giggle at. I mean he is both absurd and fucking dangerous, stupid and stealthy, pathetic and powerful, and that political satire is particularly good at exposing this extreme and seemingly incompatible set of qualities. There's a book out, Trump the Joke, how satire made sense of a squatter who didn't. And it's analyzed exactly how it came to be that satire has proven to be such an exceptional foil to Trump and Trumpism. One of the core arguments is that when politics gets absurd, satirical comedy is one of the few ways to not just expose absurdity, but also counteract that. And no doubt we all have Trump fatigue, but that isn't the same as Trump comedy fatigue, so here are 5 reasons why we should keep laughing at him. Number 1, comedy makes the story about the joke. As sick as you may be of Trump's fucking ugly ass, you have to give the guy credit for one thing. He knows how to keep the spotlight on him, which is true, he does. And since well before he announced his 2016 campaign to squat in the White House, Trump has had an uncanny ability to keep the cameras focused on him. Whether it was trolling Barack Obama to produce a birth certificate that proved he was born in Hawaii, and calling Mexicans rapists, or bragging about grabbing women by their pussies, he's the car crash we can't stop watching. And this is not just a story about a guy who knows how to manipulate the media. This is a story about a guy who profits from it. Thomas Patterson, who's Bradley Professor of Government and the Press at Harvard's Shorenstein Center, had wrote back in December of 2016 that from the moment that he announced Trump was the center of the press attention, Patterson's research shows that the disproportionate coverage of Trump may have well led to him to win the election, in part because the media allowed Trump to define his opponents. Whether he was ranting about Hillary Clinton's emails or calling Marco Rubio short, Trump always had his hand in framing the story. And not so, though, with satirical comedy, but before and during and after Trump was elected, which he wasn't really elected, he was installed by Russia, the one source of media that was able to effectively and persuasively reframe the story of Trump was comedy, and this has been true ever since the satirist at Spy magazine called Trump a short-fingered Bulgarian back in 1988. And whether we think of Alec Baldwin's impersonating Trump for Saturday Night Live, or the massive Trump baby balloon that flew over London in 2018, or Sarah Cooper lip-syncing an unhinged Trump, there are countless examples of times that comedy has disrupted the Trump-controlled narrative. Now, the best proof that we have of the power of comedy to deflate Trump's massive media ego is the fact that he was obsessed with its power over him. He not only tweeted each and every time Baldwin played him, he also tried to pressure Seth Meyers to publicly apologize to him after Meyers mocked him at the 2014 White House Correspondents Association dinner. And Trump doesn't just whine about jokes that mock him. He also has a history of suing or threatening comedians who basically make fun of him. And even better, we also know that when he was in office, he asked advisors about what the Justice Department, the Federal Communications Commission, and the court system could do to punish comedians who made fun of him. Number 2, Trump comedy isn't going anywhere anytime soon. And much has been made lately that the moment for televised Trump-focused comedy has ended. Part of the story relates to the relative success of the right-wing insult comedy of foes' gut gut-filled, or as I like to call them, gutless. Um, the folks watching Nielsen ratings have noted drops in the traditional late-night comedy lineup and started to speculate that the drop is due to audiences being tired of Trump-bashing jokes. I'm not tired of it. The ratings are real, but they are only part of the story, and actually a pretty small part. Now, writing last year for Forbes, Mark Joyella noted that Gutless was outpacing other late-night comedy shows with a 2.94 viewers as compared, for example, to the late night show with Stephen Colbert's 2.1 million. What these ratings watchers miss, however, is the fact that those of us who watch satirical comedy rarely watch it when it airs on TV. In fact, most TV viewers are over 65, which tracks well with the faux demographic. And not only are they comparable not only are cable TV watchers older, there are less and less of them. And with cable TV watchers declining 20% from 2015 to 2021, and most people don't have cable anyway, so they can't watch a whole lot of shit. Now, even more ratings don't capture the various other ways that viewers watch clips of comedy. Gutless does pretty badly on YouTube, regularly getting less than 500,000 views, as compared to Stephen Colbert and John Oliver, who have over 9 million subscribers to their respective YouTube channels. Now, here's the other thing. We don't just make fun of Trump on TV. In fact, one of the most interesting aspects of Trump comedy, and it's analyzed in the book, is the way that it empowers non-professional comedians and everyday citizens to express themselves by mocking Trump every day, just on any social media site. From social media sites to protest signs, there's virtually no act or utterance by Trump that isn't countered by a heaping dose of a citizen-led satirical sass. Number 3. Satire is highly effective at revealing the irony in an ironic situation. One of the core truths of satire is that the more absurd things get, the more satirical comedy there will be. And this is true across time and place. But the most important lesson in this is why this happens everywhere all the fucking time. Now, satire is uniquely suited to combat abuses of power, political folly, deceit, and deception, and that is because when the world is absurd, it takes absurd forms of communication to make it easy to see. So when a politician says that he is going to make the country great, but actually makes it worse, it takes satire to expose that in a way that is easy to recognize and possible to counteract. Now, because satire is playful, clever, and uses irony creatively, it is the perfect foil for deceptive political rhetoric. Now, this is always true, but under Trump it became truer than ever, in part because the Trump persona was such a complex mess of frightening, stupid, callous, calculated, and inept. It was extremely difficult for the straight news media to handle those various personas, but satire was able to hit at them all together and all the time. And we have been literally laughing our asses off at this guy for decades, and as it's pointed out in the book, whether we laugh at a Trump cartoon by Gary Trudeau, or a Jimmy Kimmel tweet or a satirical essay by John Oliver, satire always gives us insight into the ironies of the Trump persona that we just don't get anywhere else. And number 4, satire is never just a distraction. Comedy is great for dealing with stress, but satirical comedy does more for it. Satirical comedy is designed to fire up the mind in ways that allow its audience to foster, develop, and deploy critical thinking skills. Satire consumers are smart, better at nuanced thinking, and open to complexity. Satire also makes us better at politics. Research shows that satire helps audiences feel more confident about their political beliefs and that this translates into a higher rate of political action. Now, the satire consumers also have better memory recall for political information. Now, from voting to donating to petitioning and to protesting, satire lovers get involved in politics and they do so while laughing at their opponents. It is highly a powerful model and one that has especially been useful as a counterforce to the maggot crowd. Now, number 5, it is good for us to laugh at Trump. Now, satire wasn't just powerful at reframing the Trump narrative and keeping us politically engaged. It also feels good and helps us feel less isolated. Now, the research in the book shows how Trump satire helped to build a community of its getters, who both had a laugh at the absurdity of Trump, but also felt connected and engaged. Now, we can see this at work in the way that political movements like Indivisible incorporated satire and nepotism into the grassroots movement. Now, Michael Moore has also talked about how Trumpism led us to build an army of comedy to not just get under his skin, but to help us feel empowered. Now, the research proves Michael Moore's point, documenting how humor increases the likelihood that audiences will will share political information with others. Now, Trump's satire played a major role in helping fight off our depression, despair, and disillusionment after he cheated to win the 2016 election, because satire excites the mind while targeting a social program, but it helps its audience feel pleasure at getting the joke and laughing at something that deserves mockery. And if there is one fucking thing that we have needed during the Trump era, it is to feel good even when he is making us sick. He may be making us sick, but we can still enjoy laughing at his stupidity. So if you like the video, you can give the video a like and subscribe to my channel, RBW King. You can also hit the notification bell so that you'll be notified when a new video comes out. You can go ahead and leave a comment and let me know what you think. And if you want to support my work even further, you can donate to my Patreon link, which you can find in the About section of YouTube. And for just a little as a few bucks a video or a month, your donation can help go a long way, and thanks for listening.